Breaking news. We're waiting for former President Donald Trump to arrive in Atlanta to surrender at the Fulton County Jail. This is a live look at the airport where in just about 2 hours, we expect to see his plane land.
This is video as he arrived at the airport in Newark, New Jersey, just about a half an hour ago. He is on the plane waiting to take off now. The former president, along with 18 other co-defendants, have been indicted on RICO and other charges for alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia.
And just hours ago, another high-profile co-defendant, former Trump chief of staff, Mark Meadows, was booked. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 5. I'm Alex Whitler.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Tom Haynes. We have live team coverage. Fox 5's Eric Perry is live at the airport awaiting former President Trump's arrival. Deidre Dukes has more on the security measures at the jail. And Tyler Fingert covering the crowd of Trump supporters gathered outside the jail.
But first, Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis has more on this case, such as who was booked into jail today and the court filing that could really fast-track this entire case.
Yeah, Alex, thank you. There is certainly a lot more security out here than previous days, which is understandable because they're expecting later on tonight the arrival of the former president of the United States. But as you mentioned, earlier today, the Fulton County Sheriff's Office released mugshots of some of the other co-defendants who turned themselves in. There were 2 people today so far. One is Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. He was released on a $100,000 bond. The other one is an interesting fellow. He is the Black Voices for Trump head Harrison Floyd. He's accused of harassing Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman. He doesn't have a bond right now, perhaps because he was arrested earlier this year on charges of attacking an FBI agent. So he may be in the Fulton County Jail for quite some time until a bond is actually set for him. But of course, we are all here waiting for the main defendant, the primary defendant in this historic indictment. Fulton County Sheriff Pat Labatt inspected the scene on Rice Street, accompanied by heavily armed deputies. He's vowed to treat Donald Trump like any other defendant, but it's clear a former president will be handled much differently. A bond has already been set at $200,000. Mr. Trump will have to put up 10%, $20,000 cash to be released. When he arrives in Atlanta, he'll have a new attorney representing him. Prominent defense attorney Steve Sadow, who has had many celebrities as clients, filed paperwork this morning announcing his entrance into the case. Now, Sadow's got an immediate job to do, and that is to try to stop this October 23rd trial date that Fani Willis was forced to set because one of the co-defendants, Ken Chesbrough, filed a motion for a speedy trial. When that happens, all of the co-defendants in the case, all 19 of them, have the trial set for October 23rd. Obviously, Donald Trump does not want to be tried that soon. Neither does his attorneys, obviously. So he is going to try to sever, Steve Sadow, try to sever Donald Trump's case from the rest of the defendants. But as I said, we are waiting here for Donald Trump to arrive. We understand that might be closer to 7 to 7:30, and when it happens, we will let you know. For now, reporting live from the Fulton County Jail, Randy Travis, Fox 5 News.
All right, Randy, we'll be watching. Thanks for the very latest from there. We're also learning more about a crucial hearing on Mark Meadows' efforts to move his Fulton County criminal case to federal court. That hearing is set for Monday. DA Willis has subpoenaed Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and Francis Watson, the former investigator in the Secretary of State's office who was called by Trump in December 2020. Meadows believes that any actions he took involving the Georgia election were done while he was a federal employee.
By this evening, more than half of the defendants will have turned themselves in, and those who haven't only have about 19 hours left to do so. Those include former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark and current Georgia State Senator Sean Still. Now, as we've mentioned, President Trump is on a plane. He's headed to Atlanta. Let's get out to Fox 5's Eric Perry, who's been live at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Eric, what are we learning about the former president's arrival? We know he's in New Jersey, already sort of on his way here to Atlanta.
Yeah, Tom, Alex, good afternoon to you both. It is very clear someone very important and big is coming here. Take a look behind me. You can see APD motorcycles. They just rolled in, and I want to get you to some video that we shot probably about 20-25 minutes ago of this big procession as they are gearing up for former President Trump's plane to arrive here. Now, this is on the opposite side of Hartsfield-Jackson International, the more private side. So if you have flights leaving out, you should be okay. We also want to get you to some video of his motorcade coming into New Jersey. We are understood that he is still on the tarmac. That plane has not just yet taken off as it is heading here to Hartsfield-Jackson. But again, here we have seen an increase of security. We have seen an increase of police presence here. Let's get you back out here live. We just see a little bit of movement and some APD officials as they're going through Secret Service as well. They're starting to block off some of the roads as his plane should arrive here anytime between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. Of course, this is all eyes, not just on Atlanta, but on the airport, as that huge plane that we've seen for years is set to arrive here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Of course, as soon as that plane arrives, we'll bring that to you, and as that motorcade prepares to go to the Fulton County Jail. And that's where we find my colleague Tyler Fingert. He's been there all throughout the day. People on both sides, passionate for former President Trump, and also against him. Tyler, what are you seeing out there?
Well, Eric, good evening to you. At least 100 demonstrators are out here on Rice Street, right outside the Fulton County Jail. Take a look down the street. You'll see a number of them right there. Also a Trump flag along with an American flag right there. This all comes ahead of former President Donald Trump's surrender tonight. Most are his supporters, and they've braved this heat to make sure the former president knows he is not alone.
We're talking about truth.
Former President Donald Trump supporters outnumbered those against him outside the Fulton County Jail Thursday.
This guy's taken shot after shot. He's done nothing wrong but fight for us.
Supporters with flags, shirts, and plenty of MAGA gear lined the road waiting for the former president to surrender.
I just wanted to show my support for Trump and to let people know there are minorities that support not only Trump but conservative values.
Trump didn't give up on us, and I'm not giving up on Trump. I'm going to support him all the way through.
The show of support comes as former President Trump faces his fourth indictment this year. He's one of 19 named in the Fulton County election meddling case and is set to turn himself into the county jail less than 24 hours before the noon Friday deadline. Some supporters say they're most excited for his mugshot.
It's going to go viral 100%, and I would expect the Trump campaign to throw it on a shirt, throw it on a mug, maybe a flag, who knows.
While there's plenty of supporters of the former president, not everyone is upset he'll soon be booked into jail.
I knew that there were going to be people out here offering support for him, and so I wanted to make sure that Fani and the folks who are trying to hold him account had support as well.
Law enforcement put up barricades to keep demonstrators away from the jail. Some supporters of Mr. Trump drove hours just to be here.
And it's important to be out here to stand up for this witch hunt.
The whole world is just watching what we're doing to our former president. It's embarrassing, not only for the country, but, I mean, we look like clowns.
And the former president posted on social media that he will be here at 7:30 tonight, and the folks I spoke with said they're going to be here for that. We're live outside the Fulton County Jail tonight. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, quite a showing out there. All right, Tyler, thanks for the latest from that scene. Meantime, the sweeping election indictment with 19 co-defendants has a lot of legal twists and turns.
So to help us make sense of it all, we've brought in former DeKalb County District Attorney Gwen Keys-Fleming. So Gwen, we expect the former president to surrender to the Fulton County Jail at 7:30 tonight, get fingerprinted, and take a mug shot. So for the average person who doesn't know what to expect, what would be the next steps after that? Looks like we're experiencing some technical difficulties there. We're going to get those questions answered for you, though, as soon as possible.
All right, for the very latest, stay with Fox 5, both here on the air and online. We're constantly updating the story as it develops second by second. Download the Fox 5 News app for the very latest anytime, and follow us right here on Fox 5 News. Also,